At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Our first item is discussion and possible action on extra service, salary, and stipend schedule for 2015-2016 school year. And this contains, I think, five items. So we'll take the first one, and which would be certified salary schedule 15-16.
Certified salary schedule didn't change. Only thing changed on the certified salary schedule is it increased by 2%. So we made no changes on the certified salary schedule. And then this is the classified salary schedule that we started with, and we highlighted all the ones that we removed.
Okay, the ones highlighted.
Are the ones that either we removed or edited.
Edited.
The only one that I did edit was on page, and I highlighted, and you'll see why I did some edits on that one. I went back to last year's salary schedule before we did the lunch, and it had somehow the miscalculations on maintenance worker 2 on page 2, and you'll see at 6 years of experience, it says $13.98 on page 2, and it's the one that's highlighted halfway down.
Yeah, what?
And then it jumps to $13.36, so I made sure that was corrected. So other than all the highlights are the ones that we made changes to, and the board was involved. And we just took them away from the salary schedule because no one was in those positions.
Okay, so all these highlighted, except for that one you just spoke of, are gone.
Yes.
Right.
No, no longer exists.
And so now we are with a 2-page classified salary schedule. Kelly, do you have copies of those for the board members? Okay.
One of the questions, if you remember, Kathleen, one of the questions we had back a few board meetings ago was the computer tech position here. Okay, let me find it. I think it's 75-25. Yeah, there's computer tech too. There's 75-25. There was a difference, I think, from 011-012. If you remember, and I even asked our attorney how this position, how there was about a $10,000 a year reduction in that salary for that position, for 75-20. Okay, for 75-25, how it went from well, actually about a $10,000 cut a year. And Mike didn't know. Mike Schmidt at that time didn't know. He said, well, it could have been done. The board could have approved it in the salary schedule or whatever. So I want to make sure that this thing is corrected.
I have a salary schedule because I think at one point the board asked for a copy of that salary schedule but it's 2010, 2011, same salary schedule as 2011, 2012, if you need to see those numbers.
So was that for the same number of days?
Same number of years. Oh, okay,
The
service.
number of days yearly? I mean,
Well, the position at that time.
some
Ms.
positions
Rose,
are
do you want to
220.
address that?
Some positions are 220 days, some are 240, 248, whatever. So I just wondered if it's based on the same number of days, same number of hours.
The position that was in 2011, 12, 2010, 11 was for 240 days. Our tech person at that time was a
240
240
days, and what is it now, 220, 21?
The person that took that position, took the only position that was available at that time was the 240, and then our current computer tech, I'll have to look on my scale, but I believe at the time he was
So it's 240 days, 2011.
210 currently. The computer tech person that holds computer tech position is 210.
It's 210 now, it's 240 then, so.
It'll be 220, June 1st.
Okay, so that's one reason the discrepancy in pay, so what we're saying.
Well, I'm talking about the hourly rate going down.
Well,
Well, I'm not talking about the extended days, forget the extended days, the hourly rate went down.
you said
Huh?
you said $10,000 difference, that's what.
Yeah, well, about a $10,000, but the hourly rate decreased from 2000, from what it was in 2010, 2011. The hourly rate went down. And the only way it could go down is the board had to do it, correct? I mean, the board had to do it.
So what was the hourly rate then, and
And now,
the hourly rate, which was based on 240 days, and one was based on 210
yeah.
days, which is going up to 220, correct?
Did you get this? Carolyn, you gonna pick these up? No, I didn't take them. This was in.
My question, Tammy, is that, Ms. Sloan, is that there's not been any increases or decreases in the salary schedule from last year to this year?
On the one that is a 2-page that we've revised, is that what you're asking, Mr. McCoy?
On any of them? I mean, on
Anyone's salary.
anyone's?
No, only the 1%, which was last year, and the 2% this year.
Okay.
No one else's, no one's.
I would like to tell the board, Madam Chair, that while spending literally hours with the group of classified in negotiating a potential contract that they will come before the board with, there is a item that they have discussed about meeting with the financial director and members of the representing the board, and a group of them actually taking a look and trying to make this salary schedule, classified salary schedule, a better fit for the for all of them. They brought up several, a few different things that I couldn't put a finger on. I didn't have a schedule like this in front of me, but they were wanting to meet before the school year this year in hopes that they could remedy some of the questions they had, and also any of the board members had. So I do need to tell you that that was being proposed. Mr. Ball might have something else to say on that.
Yeah, there's just some things that are confusing. Well, like here with this computer, okay, with this job here, can I show you this? You need to come to the table. Like here is the, okay, that's 7525, the same thing, but this is coded here, 75, okay, yeah, okay. The same thing here. All right, right now, our current salary schedules, I'll just go down here, I'll just grade 20 years, okay? 20 years service, this thing would pay, now pays $16.54. The same position in 2010, 2011 with 20 years service pays $19.29 per hour.
So that's a drop.
That's a drop. Yeah, see it? Well, okay. I'll let you see it, because here's, this thing from, okay, it's 2010, 2011,
Correct.
75-25,
Right.
that's the same thing. You look at 20-year service, just look at 20-year service. Or this here, that's what I pointed,
1938.
1938, and this was in 2010, 2011.
Okay.
Today, that same position pays, the 75-25, well, where's it at? Lost it. Right here. Right here. That same position pays 1662.
So that is a drop of money from,
It's a
maybe
big-
not from one year to the next, but from 3 years ago to now, or
Or
something.
5 years ago now.
Yeah,
I mean, it's dropped.
it paid more 5 years ago than it does now. Something seems
Well,
not
I think
right.
the lawyer even addressed it at maybe the last board meeting where there was only one position that was, when a computer tech left the board and our DTC, our district technology coordinator, retired, then only one person was hired. There was no classified position at that time for a DTC. So he was hired into the computer tech position at that time, if I understand correctly. And a new salary schedule was created, an agreement for the computer, or the DTC, the computer tech that was hired originally was agreed upon on a new contract negotiation. So there was no one in the computer tech position. Someone was transferred into the board's office, and there was no position created for the transfer into the board's office. So a salary schedule was created at the end of that year, which was a revised salary schedule. Now,
Well, then the person who occupies that position now should be paid what that position pays.
so, and that's the board's choice to revise the salary schedule to make it comparable to the person, that position.
Well, I think it's the right, I think it's the only fair thing to do.
The board can do that.
It should be, you know, I mean, there's.
Fair.
Yeah, it should be fair. There's no secret, I mean, this was brought to our attention by, by an employee.
And the
And
board can do
it
that.
would be, and if I were an employee, I would certainly do the same thing.
And the board can do that, and we'll revise, that'll be the only other salary schedule that will be revised by the next board meeting.
Okay, and
regular board meeting.
that will
And
reflect.
do you want it to reflect the paper that you have from 2010-11? Is that the one you want on there?
Well, I mean, there was never any kind of move to cut it or anything like that, so it should go along with everybody else's
I
pay.
understand, yes.
With the annual increases, is that correct?
Right.
I mean, whatever annual increases that were in effect at that time, from 2010, to the current time. I mean, if say, I wouldn't know, but let's say that there was a 2% increase granted in 12-13.
I
then-
think the only increases that we had was the 1% last year,
Okay,
and the
1% last-
2% this year.
Okay. Well, and just make that right so that it's, as I said, there is it's a big difference. I mean, it's a big difference. It's,
And there may be other things, Ms. Sullivan, I don't know. Of course, I do want to be, in no way, I want to be fair. And I don't ever want a person, man or woman, in this district, sitting beside another person that does the same job, regardless of what the title is, and that one person makes less money. I want it to be equal,
Absolutely. Yes.
So you can figure out what this would be from, you say with, for some reason this was highlighted there, and I had to look at that, I guess that's your highlight. 21, years, and it's 1938. And of course, that was the hourly rate, correct? 1938, 21 years of experience. In 2010, 2011, that person made $19.38 per hour. And in the 75-25 right here for the same thing makes $16.62 per hour.
But all these would have to change, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well,
In the
these,
column?
yeah, all
If
these
you
would
want, if
have
you
to
want the
change.
salary schedule to reflect what it did then.
And you're talking about,
We can change it all.
you're talking about a difference of, almost $3 an hour. That's,
So we'll take that salary schedule and add a 1% and then a 2% and then reflect it on our
bring it up to
two-page.
date.
Mhm.
Okay, what should be. And, and what I'm saying, the board in the past could have done that. I mean, could have
The board
could have adopted,
could have.
it could have just been a clerical error, just, whatever. I'm not blaming anybody, I'm not saying anybody intentionally cutting things, it's just a mistake. All right,
And it
so,
is a 220-day job now, rather than 210.
so it's a 220-day contract?
Beginning 1 July.
Huh?
Beginning 1 July.
It's 220? 220, okay. In the past, was it 220?
210.
210, okay.
And again, I do want to bring it to the attention of the board members that under a potential contract, collective bargaining contract, or like they're working on for we've been working on for certified, these people, the certified will expect sometime to meet with the financial people and people that are appointed by the board to look over this salary schedule and perhaps make other changes of it for the 2015-2016 school year. Is that going to be a problem?
Who are we asking?
I'll start with you, sir, yes.
The board controls the budget.
Well, the only thing I'm saying about, this is just one case where
You
we
can
know
go
that.
up and pay, you just can't go down.
Yeah,
And-
this is just one, this is just one instant of where we know that an employee was, obviously there was something done, in this thing here. Just ensure that, I'm like, Mr. McCoy, I want to be fair. I want to be, whatever, if the job calls for this, then that's what they should be paid. And that's,
And-
so this will be. and I'm-
Revised by
Okay,
Monday.
okay, and I'm assuming that this 75-25, is that the munis code
Mhm.
number?
The state
Okay.
code, yes.
Okay,
I have no problem with, raise. I would like to,
I don't call it a raise, I call it
raising it up to, like you said, the fair.
I call it a restoration, that would be better, because it was never decreased.
But I would like to add a couple of duties to that, so.
What would you like to see?
Well, I would like to see some grant writing in that area, obtaining more technology, maybe some more, as far as attending training.
Well, we pay a grant writer $3,000 and give them 30 days extra. So don't they write all the grants? The grant writer,
They write grants in 10 days.
and what?
They write them. I
I
just,
can't hear.
Okay,
I would just like to see more grant writing in the technology area, which I've checked, which we've talked about before, and, computers for, for learning, or some grant money there. Of course, I call the prison every other week as far as trying to, obtain some computers from them, but, I just like to, every avenue possible as far as this grants and technology, I just want to So explore that. And
You think we need more computers?
I think we can always use more computers.
according to the evaluation.
And we have made a correction on the grant writers. He has 20 days total, 10 as a psychologist and then 10 as a grant writer. Carolyn has a revised extra service schedule.
Which I have brought.
Instead of
Same
service, 10, yes.
I brought numerous grant, which I've, was, found on the internet and gave them to Paul, who's been,
Yes.
you know, still lease, and I don't know, you know, on Lowe's found, Lowe's. And of course, the school transformation, which he got, you know, 1.5 million, whatever, so.
So does the grant writer just write on psychology grants?
No.
Can't do all?
No,
Two
no.
separate duties.
He just has 10 days and not 30. I think that extra
Right,
service.
he can't write all the grants?
He writes a lot of it, he takes a lead on a lot of it.
The thing I want to make plain is that this, you know, all I'm proposing, and I think the board, you know, would agree, is that we're not granting this position a raise. We're putting it where it should be. You know what I mean? And whatever responsibilities that the person had in 2010, you know, 2011, should be the same responsibility. It's not like, okay, we're going to restore your pay and then add other duties to it. That's not the case. I mean, we're going to restore your pay to what it should be, and forgive us for for it not being, you know, corrected before this time. You know, I believe in paying people what they're owed, even when we face the thing of the step increases and things like that. Like I said, you pay people what you owe them. It's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And in this case here, it's the right thing to do. I don't care if the person's classified, certified, or whatever. It's the right thing.
Well, okay, I'll retract my.
Well, no, I'm not.
We'll find some other, you know, I'll retract that on the minutes for us.
Can the board
Grant
set
writer.
extra duties? Can the board set duties? Do they set the criteria for a job?
Job descriptions.
Job descriptions.
They do?
We have job descriptions. I'd like to see some job descriptions.
I haven't.
Where can I find these?
We
So
have
the
those-
board sets job
You
descriptions?
approve. You
Yeah, we
job
approve them,
descriptions.
yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Is there a list of them somewhere?
Yes, sir.
Where is that?
Carolyn has it.
Carolyn has? All the job descriptions?
I did not know that.
I didn't know that.
We discussed that
They're on
last board meeting.
Yeah, KDE.
Oh.
And they match the numbers on your salary schedule.
Is this after a job is filled or before a job is filled?
But, well, it's standing when the board creates a position. Before you do that, there
Okay,
should be a
thank you.
description of what that person does or what
It'll be a while before I
that
get
position
through all
calls
these.
and duties and responsibilities.
The board approves that also?
The board approves the position and on the basis of the job duties and responsibilities.
And how do we do that? Do we get like a list of that and then we say, yes, this looks good and give it back?
What will happen when the superintendent comes to the board and says, I'd like to create a position, and here's what this position will do, then it's not two separate things that you're approving, although it could be. But typically, if it's a new position, new duties are added, then the board will approve that, the job duties and the position.
And once their job duties are made known, that goes into their contract, right?
Yes, since I've been here, we've added, we started last year, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
I would like.
well, they've been given them, but we started with Mr. Meadows' term. We started again,
I'd like
and
to,
every new person is given it to them, correct?
It's a job description, and on their contract, they have their days and hourly rate for classified and certified, they have their days and base salary.
okay, Madam Chair, I'd like to see something which I discussed this, I think I talked to, I think I may have talked to Mr. Schmidt some time ago about, anytime that there's a creation of a new position, that the board develop a policy, we probably have to look at, the school districts or, the KSBA or whatever, to determine some type of criteria, say to show the need for a new position. It's not enough to say, okay, I need such and such. Okay, why do you need such and such? Put the need down there in order to do that, for there to be some kind of policy. I mean, you understand what I mean?
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yes.
That there be something set in,
Just like it's
that's set
done.
in stone.
Right,
yeah.
just like if a school comes in or a position and wants extra money or something like that,
Yeah, to show a need for that.
Right.
You gotta show a need for it. But anyway, but this will, okay, there wasn't a motion or anything needed to correct this, right? On the,
Yes.
Yes.
oh,
we'll
there is a
need
motion
that
that's needed for that,
No.
okay?
Are you for that particular
For that particular,
job or the whole thing?
well, that's the only thing that we are aware of on this one thing here. Now, that's something that, I mean, you understand, we can ask you to go over and look at everything to make sure everything
Actually, she does.
is all right. Huh?
Actually, she does.
Well, yeah, but
That's probably what the classified are asking.
are gonna ask for, yeah, I would say.
Asking to do.
And about a month or two
Yeah.
ago, we did we
Salary
asked for some
committee.
salary schedules from other districts so that we could look at it and compare. And we came in pretty,
Yeah, I'm not,
and
you know,
they can- I mean, that would be available if at that meeting we would have that information.
sure,
If
so
it
with
came
them,
up.
with the people themselves,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, well, I will make that motion, and so everybody understands, so everybody can look at their, position here. And the job, the classification, it's 7525. I need to look, because I'm probably on the wrong page. I am, okay. It's this, I got the munis code number at the top, is 7525, it's computer tech. It's got, it looks like 2%, I don't know what that, it's
That was
got-
on the original.
Okay, that's, okay. All right, so it's just a computer tech job. It's coded at 7525. The motion is to make it correctly reflect what the salary schedule was 2010 to 2011, what the pay was for those years, along with the years of experience, stuff like that, that be restored to what it would be today if that salary schedule were to follow right on. Okay, that there was never, if the board did reduce it, they may have done it, well, I don't know if they've done it unknowingly or whatever, but for it to reflect the same thing in 2010, 2011, along with the raises that would have been granted through that time, that the salary schedule be set right. So that I make that motion.
Okay.
Are you adopting the entire schedule with that change? Is that what you're saying?
No, just this one position,
The computer technician.
just the computer tech position. Okay, for this reason, we've had a complaint, we had an employee to say that they weren't paid what they were owed, and certainly this salary schedule reflects that.
Where?
We just looked at it.
We have an employee who says that they have not been paid what they're supposed to be paid?
That's what we have said.
it has came before the board before.
He's come before the board before.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. You're not talking about like back pay and all that. You're just talking about,
We're
Bringing us
talking
back
about
up to
their
the
pay being
2010,
restored. No, we were talking about
2011
back pay. If it were me and I worked in the mines,
Plus
I would get my back pay.
1%.
Huh? No, believe me, if I worked in the mines, yeah, I would have got what I got paid. This person isn't asking for that, they're just asking to be they're asking that they
Rather
be
than the
restored.
present hourly wage, restore it to what it was previously.
Plus the 1%,
Plus the
2% raise, right?
Yeah, plus whatever raises would be in effect from that time on, from 2011 up to the current time. That the salary schedule,
Okay.
the motion is the salary schedule be placed at what it was 2010, 2011, which is what it is here. The salary schedule that was adopted here, with any raises that would have been in effect during those time periods. And you said there was like a 1%
Last
this
year and
year,
2%
okay?
this year.
Okay, 2% this year. So that reflect that, so that it go up. Okay. That the salary schedule just be, we're not,
Okay, you got revise the salary
revised,
schedule,
it's
yes.
not, and I want to make it clear, we're not talking about giving someone a raise. We're talking about restoring what was lost. Do you understand what I mean? The board understands that, right? Is that correct? Not a raise.
I would just, here's my
Revision.
recommendation. I would just say, make a motion that we restore 75-25 to the 2010, 2011 level. That way you're not getting into
To the
who's
2000.
in there, and how many's in there. You
Well,
just
the
want-
2010, 2011, with any raises that would have gone into effect during that time period. Yeah, that's what we're talking
So that it reflects
about.
So-
the same pay for the same job duties
Yeah,
Right.
that are now being performed.
for roughly $3 an hour less.
I don't know about the money wise.
Okay, you got that?
We got
Okay then. Okay, got a motion and I would like to second that. A motion and a second, I need a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Now we can get on to the rest of the salary.
Okay. Any questions? No.
What,
Okay. What, our extended days, I think that's next.
yeah, the extended days, yeah.
Just want to make a clarification here.
Mhm.
So the board did not just adopt a salary schedule for classified?
No, we just changed that one.
Just the one.
Just one.
I just want to caution the board, there's only one line here, discussion and possible action on extra service salary and stipend schedules for the 15-16 school year. So you really, we can only make one motion on this line. So after the dust settles tonight, whatever the board wants to do with all of these, the extra service, the salary, stipend schedules, would need to be passed what you want to pass if you.
Okay, so
Okay,
just
yes,
put that on a
uh-huh.
piece of paper. Yeah, just put that on a piece of paper.
Okay,
Write it down the way you want it.
okay, well, we can do it at our next meeting. the
No, we'll
regular-
do them all at one time. Yeah,
Huh?
Yeah, you're doing them all at one time.
we'll have to do them all at one time.
All right, okay.
We can't
We
do
can do
one
it, okay.
unless that's the only one we want to do.
Well, here's the thing about it. Well, with adopting this salary schedule, one of the problems that we're gonna have is the classified workers meeting with you. Or meeting with, to go over this thing and review it.
Well, they'll be meeting with me and
Okay.
and finance.
And finance.
Yeah.
May I ask, what's the difference in the payroll clerk and the treasurer? Is that two separate people or just one?
You treasurer, we have payroll clerks.
Okay.
Okay, I need to ask this, have there been any changes in this salary schedule, in the salary schedule from last year, any changes in rates per hour and or job classifications?
Now, the job classifications at the top had to be updated. They weren't. They were just kind of scattered and here and there. And I'll be quite honest with the board, I've never been involved with the salary schedule until the past 2 years.
Okay,
Last year, we updated it, it was 1%, and then it was, the lunch hour, you know, the half hour was in it, so we revised it.
yeah, we can do that,
And we did several things last year. So, you know, as I said, I've not been involved until the past 2 years working on the salary schedule. I think we've come a long way. I did look at the codes to ensure that they were state mandated codes. It's the first time I've really touched those is this year. So you see the yellow one is the one we started with, and the 2-page is what our final draft is, besides the change the board has requested tonight. But the codes are current on the 2-page.
Okay,
You know, there shouldn't be, those are the most current pay codes.
you're talking about.
And
just
that
the two
matches what's in our payroll. Yes.
So in other words, we don't have, well, the thing I want to make sure is we don't have any, well, what was the thing we had before? We had instructional aides, had instructional assistants, and then the aides. Are there differences in?
No, there shouldn't be. They're instructional assistants, and we continue to work on these. I want to go back to your original question and just trying to decipher the intent of it, Gary, and it's no salary, even if you did approve them tonight, and again, board, you know, I applaud your attention to this. We need to continue to work on this as we move forward, and probably all year long, but you can always go up. The thing, you can't go down. You can't take away from only those who have been notified of that decrease already, and that's been in the extra service arena.
Well, okay, I understand the thing that you could never go down, but obviously in this one position here, we did go down.
Well, that was from 2010, 2011, and just for hypothetically speaking, the person who is in that position didn't occupy that position until a couple of years later anyhow, so.
But it should still pay the same thing.
Well, not necessarily if the job duties changed, but I'm not getting into arguing.
Yeah, no, I'm not, I'm not either, and I'm
gonna
saying
increase
if,
that.
yeah, if it was the same job classification, if it's 75-25 or whatever the number was.
That's right, but
Yeah.
remember the job classifications from the state are the template.
Yeah,
When it comes into the local
Yes, they
district,
coordinate.
the local district sets those,
Thank you.
the superintendent or the supervisor,
yeah,
and the board approves those job duties. Now, right now, for classified personnel, it's all other duties assigned by the superintendent, so it really doesn't have to be in that job description for the incumbent or the employee to be asked to do other things other than what they.
other than what the job description calls for.
Right.
Yeah, well, but that's all I'm saying, it shouldn't be, somebody now occupying that seat should make the same thing as somebody who occupied it back in 2010 or 11, and they don't, so that's what I'm saying, that's the difference. So since this is a special meeting, it don't look like that we're gonna be able to, regular meeting we can change this. What
I would hope to accomplish tonight at the minimum is some agreement on, let's take the first one, the salary schedules. If the board would look at the classified salary schedule, the certified salary schedule, that includes the 2% increase. If the board would consider either, and we've already considered one addition to that, one revision to that. So if the board decided to approve those tonight and not do anything to the others, that would be fine. Or you could just leave everything on the table until next Monday at our regular session, look at it once again and approve it then. Or you could go on perhaps closer to June 15th, but we need to get these schedules out. It's not going to be any less for the base salary of classified and certified with the 2%.
That's fine.
So if the board chooses to adopt them tonight, they can, and come back next week and go, you know what, we'd like to revise this piece here on the classified, we'd like to revise this one, and you just can't go down if there's someone in it.
Well, to me, it's,
I think the classified and the certified salary schedules with the revision that has been discussed and agreed upon, I think those are reasonably acceptable. I'm not suggesting that the board has to approve them tonight, but unless there's something else that jumps out that needs to be revised, then we could probably look at the stipend schedule now, if it's all right with the board, or extra service.
Did we go by the certified already?
No, you can look at the certified.
Well,
Do we pay Head Start? I thought, I didn't think we did. Okay, we don't.
No, but at one time they wanted it on the salary schedule, and we attempted, but theirs varies, and their,
They have a different fiscal year than we
They
do.
do. so it
We
changes,
don't
so
pay
it
them, right.
Well,
does.
yes, we do. We get, that money comes in as a grant.
It, we,
But it's not actually our money, it's grant.
it's, and they have a different pay scale.
Okay, what was on here, this accounting
And I
clerk?
think I gave you all, the first time we attempted to do the salary schedule, I gave you all a copy of theirs. But I can provide it to you again on Monday, that way you can look at it.
of the
Why did we pay them?
Yes.
certified,
Head Start.
Certified, you should have. Carol, do you have certified pay scale for them? Copies?
is everything on there, the paper? Here's what my concern is that a lot of these extended days, and I understand that for most people, those extended days are work.
Yeah.
And they put in the work, and you pay people for their work. For a handful of others who mess up the whole barrel, it's not work, but extended days are gravy. And that concerns me because it concerns the public. And so I don't know how to address that. I may be, and please call me out of order if I am, but I just had to tell you my concern about extended days, work days versus gravy.
day. Okay, and I have the same thing, with Mr. McCoy, in this sense, okay, let's say back when they first started the summer, feeding program, when they first started that. And you had Sheldon Clark, I know that, and people here, I think Sean was at the high school. When they started that a few years ago, they fed people during lunch. Had kids come in and stuff like that, active people in the community come in, and they would have lunch there for them. They could get it in, baggie or something or whatever. And I could see a principal having to be there during that time. But let's say at grade schools that are shut down all summer, or middle schools that might be shut down all summer. And it's not set up at any point like that. The only thing they do at the middle school, they come in and maybe check some things, cut the grass, and that's it. You can understand the principal at the middle school, or the principal at high school getting extended days because the building's occupied, but the principal at the middle school, and the building's not occupied, wouldn't need those same days. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's not a, I'm like, I think all of our coaches, if you're a football coach or you're a basketball coach, baseball coach and all that, you put in the days. I mean, you put in the days because you're there. You're there in the weight room, you're there at practices and things like that. They put them, and I'm not advocating sports over academics. I'm just saying that.
Sounds like it.
Huh? Huh?
Sounds like it.
Well, okay. But I'm saying if the person is there and they're doing something, then.
Yeah, if they're there
If
and
they're
they're
there
doing
and they're doing
something.
something.
But if they're not there and
They-
not doing anything,
then they
then do we
shouldn't
still
do anything.
give gravy?
Yeah, to that person. I mean, I don't care if they're a coach or not.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. So that's something I think that we want to look at on extended days. And of course, if somebody's on the certified salary list, it's too late to change it, correct? And they get extended days?
With some principals, counselors, librarians,
You can't with those people.
For the year 2016.
15, 16.
Thank you.
15.
Now, which paper are we going to be looking at before we start?
Okay, the,
Jumping around.
going back to the certified salary schedule with the 2% increase, is there any discussion on the base salary? Because that's what we're looking at on the certified salary schedule. So we've discussed the classified salary schedule with the one revision, and now the certified salary schedule. Are there any discussions on the base salary schedule?
Well, this is pretty much set in stone, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, you can't,
This is the same as last year except the 2%.
So we good on that one? Pretty much?
2%.
We're not approving it yet, we're just saying, okay, it
Right,
is what it is.
right.
That's what I do.
So if you go to the, let's look at the extra service salary schedule. Do they have a copy of that now, Terry?
And back to the service, you mean extended days.
It should say Martin County School
A
District
stipend.
15, 16 extra service salary schedule.
This
Stipends.
one, see it? This right here. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure what the district transportation is. I think you were gonna check on that, and the SLP, SLPA, visual hearing impaired, and SLPA supervision. Remember, I've asked before,
On that one. Mr.
What do you need?
That one.
the district transportation,
The district
Yes.
transportation was created last year at this time, and it was for a bus garage for the, one of the examples being the inclement weather, who's gonna go out and check the roads for that? And who manages the transportation? But at the, I did not fill that. I did not put anyone in that.
so it's Boyd.
Well, it's not, I'd still like to use it, but as I shared with Mr. Boe last year, that and the board, that I did not fill that because there were still some concerns of what this person would be.
Which position is that, sir?
It's the stipend for the district.
Transportation, 614.
Transportation.
Okay, what's 614 mean? What's 6?
That's when they came up with it.
June 2014.
614.
Okay, that's where it is.
So no one has been paid for that job.
That's correct. No one's ever been in.
Okay, thank you.
I don't ever recall doing this.
Yes. June 2014.
We did.
Okay, so we created a position for somebody that,
No, it's a stipend. It's not a position.
okay,
It's just
okay,
a-
stipend,
extra
okay,
duties.
get a check, okay.
If you recall, the transportation director, Greg Cornett, who retired, and the duties that were distributed to other administrators and people in the district, just kind of absorbed it, everyone did.
And no one has that right now, sir.
That's
Is that
right.
correct? Thank you.
And no one has been paid for that.
That's correct.
Okay.
What if no one fills that position, no one's been paid for it, then why do we need to have a stipend for it?
As I shared last year, at the retirement of the person who was in transportation, we started those duties up what that person had in the office, and that was going to be a duty that was going to be assigned to one of the classified individuals at the bus garage.
Is it going to be assigned to somebody? Is
I
it-
will if the board approves that, and that's the reason why I didn't put someone in it, because our discussions last year was that maybe we don't want to do that and not continue it. And I didn't want to set somebody up for a reduction, so.
No.
Before that is filled, can the board ask that we be,
Do you want a description of those extra duties?
Or do we make the description?
No, I'll bring the description to you, and if the board wants to revise it or thinks it's not necessary, then we just abolish it, get rid of it.
Yes.
And by the way, we're working on the job descriptions. Carol and I have been over them, we've talked over the last couple of weeks, and especially with the classified positions that have the template from the state, and also the teaching positions that are templated by the state. And then they get kind of tailored at times. I've never tailored one, but typically they get tailored to the school district because there are unique needs in each district. Those have been prepared, but some of these duties, as we talked in the last board meeting, we're talking about stipends and extra days and extra duties, these extra service, they just never existed. We're considering an athletic handbook that will describe, for instance, one of the common duties for all athletic coaches is for a pre and post inventory. So some of the descriptions are going to be very similar. But we're working on those because they don't exist.
Okay, what about the high school behavior interventionist? Title I,
Let's see.
on down, just on the same. Two
These
down
are-
from district transportation.
These are new jobs, is that correct?
This was one that was last year.
Last
It is at
year.
the high school. It's paid out of the school's Title I. They asked for that.
Behavior.
If they ask for it again, it'll be on there again, but it was only for this year. They'll-
So that shouldn't be on this tentative schedule at all, right?
Well, yes, and if they don't want to fill it, they don't have to, but it's out of their Title I. But I have an indication that,
That's no extended
Content-
days, right?
no, that's a stipend, set stipend.
Stipend. Last year, I thought this might have been in response to a grant that we were going to get, is that correct? Our grant that we were,
No, we didn't get any particular grant for this. This was really, it was in response to the escalation of fights
yeah,
at
I
the
remember
school.
that.
And so it wasn't really to address the fights, it was to address the behaviors that led to those. And so there is a extra duty responsibility for an individual at the high school to track at-risk behaviors and at-risk students, to include home visits, court appearances with these students, tracking their grades and assessing their needs for student achievement and attendance.
So someone's held that job, I mean, there's been a person in that job last year, correct?
Yes,
So that documentation of the tracking is available for the board to see at any time?
yes, sir. I get that from the person, or the DPP.
Thank you.
And that,
So that'd be a good way to track, just to make sure that it would be good to see some type of documentation to make sure that it's not, $2,500 thrown away each year. But to make sure that there's somebody
I
actually.
think the best way to see this, some of this documentation, what people are doing, is to actually have them come in here and address the board, much like we did with the academics last year.
That'd be good.
that would be great. Well, that's what they're supposed to do, isn't it? It's supposed to report to us and tell us.
Well, they can,
All this is going on.
whenever the board would like.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. And this whole other, these four, when you, after a high school band director, what are all those?
Just give me a.
This whole thing, all four of them? STEM stipend, I know I asked
Okay.
about 2 or 3 of these before, and you were going to get back to me, Tammy.
Mhm.
I don't know what they are.
The STEM stipend, the STEMs were created last year. That's out of general fund. It was created in, as you see there, October. And STEM is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And for those innovations and curriculum additions that we put in the high school and the middle school, in particular for our aviation aerospace
Oh, okay.
technology program.
What's this SLPA, visual, hearing impaired? I'm
Another thing
assuming that's,
underneath that.
that's
This is-
something we've always
Speech
had.
and language.
This is speech language
Speech
pathologist,
language and all that.
and SLPA is an assistant. And when we say assistant, they are certified assistants. There's certification with
That's their extra?
that. That's
That's all their
That's
speech.
extra stipend.
Or speech.
And then you have SPL supervision. One of the pathologists must supervise the assistant.
I remember the academic coach came in here last year, actually did a pretty good job. One, Mr. Osmond. The presentation today.
There was something that came up before the board about the equalizing the middle school and high school band directors. There was something that the middle school, I can go back in my notes, find the month, but we raised, I believe, the middle school for extended days.
That's what I thought.
And what did we raise it to?
10 days, we're giving you 10 days.
They had nothing
That's
Right.
at
correct.
that
I had
time?
nothing
Right.
before,
Okay.
so we granted 10 days, or granted that position 10 days.
Well, it wasn't the same as the high school
High
evidently.
school has 5 more.
Well, it says here they have 15 more.
Right, they have 5 more than the 10 days.
Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong, I went up a line. Yes, I see that.
And we also, at the same time we gave the days, we gave a stipend. If you look back at the top, the middle school band director was created for 15, it was $2,000 stipend of what it was, 500.
Always glad to see us promoting the arts.
What
And
is,
we're- And we really, those were, again, to use the board revisions to this that were necessary because, we only had one band director going between high school and middle school.
Oh, yeah.
And one middle school not even getting it. So
Yeah.
we just were lagging behind compensation for that.
And they have big plans for our band
Yes, they
too,
did.
really
They're
moving
doing
forward.
incredibly well.
yeah, he's doing a great job. The county academic coordinator, I don't understand what that's about. We have a high
Presently,
school,
no. I'm sorry, did you finish?
we have a high school academic coordinator and an elementary,
There's no one in that. You want to confirm that for me?
so we can abolish that position
I know that for a fact.
and those
Yeah,
days.
there's no one.
Yeah,
Let's abolish that.
Okay,
okay. County academic coordinator?
Yes.
okay.
I think we should abolish everything that we don't have a person in. Just like going back up to that
Yeah, that's,
number one thing, that,
Transportation?
the transportation, unless,
Let's keep that, we thought we would keep it open and he could,
certified for a class, for a,
keep it open and what?
and before anyone's hired, he brings us,
a
Let's
classified,
Bring that back.
for one of the bus drivers. That would be someone at the bus garage.
at the bus garage.
Well, it doesn't stipulate that here.
Well, no, but we know that now. And
Well,
And we know that,
we know it, but if we don't have it in writing,
yeah, if you're
Well, I've
gonna,
left it open
I
for
mean,
you.
I would much rather that it go to a classified person, mainly because they're up there and they know.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they know. I mean, have,
Well, it'll be in the minutes that before this is hired for, we get,
I'm not gonna put any, I haven't put anybody in a year for the same reason that we're
Okay.
just talking about.
but we get a
So,
job description and agree to it.
well, it'll be a job, okay, yeah, well, it'll be, okay.
At the present time, we don't have that, right?
Right, right.
We can always abolish it and create,
So
so
what's
it's
it?
created.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what's your opinion?
We can go back to the minutes. I think I did provide.
Opinion on what?
I believe I did provide the board a brief narrative of what this stipend was gonna be for, but again, we can take any position, but I haven't filled it. Don't plan on filling it until you feel comfortable about the duties of that position.
I'd just like to get the board's opinion on, which, I push and push for, again, as an academic team and to be able to program as far as academics, also gifted and talented. What's your opinion on having a coordinator, a district coordinator, somebody overseeing the whole mean,
Well, I have no
I think
problem
the
with it,
coaches do that.
as long as it's needed, as long as
I think
somebody's
that's
doing
the
it.
coaches, I mean, the coaches need to know, I think the coaches do all that. They decide what meet in one day and all that other stuff. That's kind of like the athletic director, but we're not there yet, so. What is the school technology coordinator? Is there two of those, so is that 20 extended days total? Or is that the same person, it's just 10 days total?
Each school, the middle school, it's just 10 days each, one at the middle school, one at
So
the
it's
high
20 days
school.
total,
is
right?
20 days
I don't
total,
know, like a-
and those are days. If you look back at about halfway in the middle of the page, it says school technology coordinator, one per school is $500. So there are tech coordinators at each of our elementaries as well.
What does that job do?
Yeah, Josh, I'm-
It's a first responder to technology needs. Could be, troubleshooting, hit the ON button or the OF button.
Good.
Mhm.
Okay, so.
It's just taking work orders. It's just part of the pipeline of getting that information back here to the central office if necessary, if need be.
Okay. And I see here there's only 10 days for one psychologist. The grant, I believe, called for 2 psychologists, one at the middle school and one at the high school.
We're filling one, and we have a school psychologist who's been on board for a while. The grant is for the school psychologist. The grant does have 2 in it. We have revised that for 1, and here is the reason. I think we've discussed this briefly before, but it's a 5-year grant. And so we want to address 2 issues there. One, we don't own somebody at the end of that 4 years and a day of tenure, and then we can't afford to keep that person. So what we've done, we've shifted. We've got 1 psychologist. Next year, we're going to pick up the second one. And then the first psychologist position that was hired will be released after 4, and you'll have that continuity of the one that's hired next year to complete the 5th year.
That grant is for the program that normally has been used only in elementary schools, correct? Is this the first time it's ever been in a high school?
That's the first I've heard of that.
Well, somebody told me that.
We're talking school climate transformation, is that the right?
Yeah, that's it.
I thought it was geared more for the elementary.
Elementary levels, not,
No, not this one, and not the ones that I'm familiar with. I mean, there are high school behavioral
Well,
intervention
I'll rack my brain
Okay.
and bring it up at another time. I was just wanting to get clear on that.
What exactly do the PBIS coaches do? Do they need 25 extended days?
Well, it's in the grant, and that's why it's on the schedule, so that the
So the
board will
grant
be
pays for
aware.
the
grant
25
pays for
extended
it.
days?
Yes,
Okay.
So can we keep that open right now with the coordinator for academics? When Mr. Osborne came in, one of the things that he said that would probably be biggest help was like somebody coordinate the whole program. I mean,
I have no, well,
I mean, you always do.
Yeah, whoever's gonna occupy.
I want to have a good academic program.
Yeah.
Well, I do too, but I mean, what would they do? They would just schedule meets, and you don't think that the
We don't-
coaches can do that? You don't think the academic coaches can do that?
There's a lot of other things to do besides, you gotta, I just like to get our middle school kids involved more with our high school and
Oh, I agree
and our
100%.
elementary, I mean,
Well, I'd love to just see a job description for it,
yeah, county academic,
you know?
yeah,
and I'm
coordinator.
not saying, give them $1,000 plus 10 days, I mean.
Well, I don't think that's.
Well, that's
in-
what's, we got it down
Yeah, I
here.
know it's what it's got, but you could just say, we'll give you a stipend of 1,000, or we'll give you the 10 days, whatever.
I have no
I just
problem with the
think
amount of
somebody-
money, because the amount of money is really nothing, 1,010 days, $1,000
Well,
a
if they're doing,
day.
if they're doing
If they're
actual
doing
I
jobs,
just
something,
think you
there's
really
actually
need
somebody
somebody
there.
to oversee the total program that's not a coach.
but no one's there now? Not ever been?
Not
So
in
we've been
my,
without it all these years, right?
I'll confirm.
not in mine.
Okay. Okay.
Well, how,
Or, I'd like to see the academic, I'd like to lower taxes also, and all this is just,
can I? Okay, we,
Now, there's a correction to be made on, I'm not sure, and you can see whether it's the grant writer has 3,010 days. Is that what is on your schedule?
No, it said something else, but I made the 10
No, the ones
days.
that she just
The
passed.
new one that was
The new one.
passed out.
yeah, just $3,000 in 10
It
days.
is.
Okay, it was a
What's that?
correction, it was a typo on the other one, so that's,
Okay,
We
that's the most current.
okay.
Uh,
3,010 days?
that's on the grant writer.
Which our previous grant writer made 70-some thousand and brought in 5, so this guy here, I think is well worth, he's getting 3 plus 10 days, and he brought in almost $2 million in grants, so.
Well, the previous grant writer, though, had another job beside that. I mean, they were.
Well, this one does too, right? This one does too? Well, I think that's fine, but I think he should write all the grants, like you were talking about adding to the computer tech's job.
I think they actually.
I think if
need
he's the
to
grant writer,
establish
he's the grant
sometime
writer.
Somewhere, a grant writing committee.
Yeah, that'd be good.
We do. I mean, when we say that this position is the grant writer, this person has taken the lead on all of our grants submission, ensure the tracking, the submission, all of the T's are crossed and I's are dotted, because they can get very particular on grants bouncing back, whether it's a state or federal or even a local grant. And so we got to spend a lot of time on these things, but there are other people involved. At the school level, the principals are involved. If it's a, it just depends on what line it's in.
I think he's doing a good job.
There's a, okay, I mean,
Which I wouldn't couple myself. I think they actually got some, yeah. I'm working on one right now on the playground.
yeah, I
Or
could,
you don't need any extra days.
I'm still confused over this district athletic coordinator. and-
Let's get down there in a minute. Let's go through these one line at a time.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I just want to make sure that didn't slip my mind.
Well, what have we done? Roger, I'm the county academic coordinator. Maybe I was objecting to the, more so to the 1,010 days than actually having one.
Yeah,
And then I heard you talk at the last there,
We don't have it.
Okay.
Which
We don't have one,
some
it's
of the
just a
coaches
lot.
said, some of the coaches have come in and, at the board meeting and said one of the things, I mean, Mr. Mills asked, what, if we can help you, what would be the biggest help to an academic program? And I said, district coordinator or county.
See, I haven't been there during those times.
yeah, yeah,
And that was the high school academic coach or the
There's the high
assistant
school,
coach?
high school coach.
that was the coach, yeah.
Okay.
And plus I've had also input from some of the elementary schools about coordinating the program and kind of tie them together with the middle school and the middle school with the high school.
I think, I'd like to do that better. I think that's a good idea.
Well, that could be something that what we have, yeah, I have no problem with doing it. I mean, if it would be the academic coach, say at the high school, or an assistant academic coach in the high school, we wanted to assume those duties.
I don't want to see that.
Huh?
I want somebody that's going to direct the whole program.
Direct the whole program.
Yeah, overseeing the whole, the elementary, the middle, and the high school. Sometimes
Okay.
it's hard to coach and,
And do that too.
yeah. Or
Well, it has to be somebody like a,
I just want to see somebody, that's their job, and they do their job, as Nikki's saying, let's do our job, and make
well,
sure.
I'm not throwing out, I'm not trying to
Well,
involve.
they're gonna have another job too, that's not.
Yeah,
just gonna be
well,
their only
yeah,
job.
yeah, well, the thing
No
I'm
one's
saying,
filled it so far.
yeah, one thing I'm saying, I'm not
Are you gonna make it on time?
trying to make a personnel
Right.
suggestion, I'm
No,
not trying to make a
10 days.
personnel suggestion or, get anything
one's
like
in that
that.
position.
But like a Frank Baldridge,
Well, no one's in that position.
yeah, well, like a Frank Baldridge, say at the high
That
school.
sounds like you're mentioning a name.
Well, I'm used to
Sounds
using,
like somebody call, oh yeah.
no,
No,
I'm using him as an example. He isn't an academic coach, right? I think he used to be involved, but to have someone of his experience to coordinate a high school, middle school, all the elementary things, to have somebody like that, I could see that. You know, he's not a coach now, apparently at one time he was a coach. and he could oversee that stuff, do that good. I have no problem with somebody like that being in that position, and certainly, you know, $1,000 in 10 extended days is nothing. It is nothing to pay for that. But we don't feel it. I mean, I see nothing. The only problem I guess I'm having is that any position that we have here that's not being occupied now,
Or they're not doing their duties.
or they're not doing their duties,
Or someone else is doing their duties
or
for them.
someone else is doing their duties for them, I'm all for abolishing them, then recreating them as they're needed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we can abolish a position and come back the next meeting and, you know, create the job, that's no problem. Say the district transportation, $3,000 a year for somebody to go out and check and make sure that the roads are all right. If we abolish the position, we can always come back, when it gets cold weather and say, hey, we need somebody out here to do this. And create it, rather than leaving these loose ends. And I agree with Roger, it'd be nice to have somebody to
I'd just like to see that.
Oversee all that.
Collaborate and all the programs and the time together.
I would also, not to disagree with you, Gary, your approach there, I understand what your intent is. However, we don't want to wait until something's needed to create it.
Oh, I know that,
And these
yeah.
are annual stipends.
Yeah.
These are, you know, we don't want to wait until December or, you know, November when inclement weather, because it's not just snow, it's also floods, as well as also trees, it's
True,
high
things like
winds.
that, I know.
And it's not just the inclement weather, the bus routes, it's also weekend travel trips. Who's point of contact when a bus breaks down, or who's gonna go after them, who gets the call. So, again, I'll bring that back. I would recommend to the board that you leave it there. I haven't done anything with that particular one, or with the other ones, for that matter. I haven't put anybody in there. As I shared in the last meeting, I'm not gonna do that until the board is comfortable with those descriptions if somebody's not in it.
I would like to see, though, as someone mentioned, that it be in that job description,
Maybe
it'd
classified.
be, that's okay, Mr. Ball, I can't talk. But I have nobody, unlike Mr. Ball, who was getting ready to make a motion to hire somebody a while ago and get involved with personnel and.
Board, when you create,
I would
I'm
like,
not sure that you have that flexibility, but certainly,
I would like for you to look at that and.
I think that, and that's the intention. I will say that I don't know of an administrator or certified person in the district who would be doing the duties assigned to this position.
Well, it's just, you know, with the.
I'm not saying, tell us you will, you know, I'm not saying that at all. It's just the idea that, you know,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, I think it's much better to have a person who's out there all the time. The drivers and stuff who are actually out on the road that know, you know, these things, other than a central office that may not.
And, you know, post the job and let people apply for it, different people apply for it.
But this won't be like a posting, this will be an extra duty, so it's assigned to someone.
Go back to the academic, I'm sorry. Was collaborate and coordinate, right? Probably coordinator should be. And one of their duties will be, I think, or before you get into the job description, is these that are allotted extended days. Make sure you're putting those 6 hours, and you know that would be one of their duties. Make sure my coaches are putting the time and getting the work done and going to the training sessions
and documentation of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So people,
I agree.
not that you don't distract.
No, it's just,
Documentation, yeah.
it's the right thing to
It's
do.
like the state says, if you did it and you don't document it, you didn't do it.
right, and this is public money.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I've just been pushing academics, this academic team for 2 years. And I'm gonna keep pushing.
Well, we all want a great
Yeah.
academic program at our schools.
As it's like, and just, which I talked to Keith Hale, which Mickey knows Keith Hale.
Yeah.
Which he's the principal of Glasgow, which they have a coordinator. I'm not saying that's the reason we should have one, but they went out and looked at the top models in Kentucky and the academic teams. Of course, they talked to and got the plans from Johnson Central.
I was getting ready to say we wouldn't have to go too far.
And Russell, and I guess they won the state recall competition though. They beat Johnson Central and also beat Russell. It's Glasgow Independent, Keith Hale School, so I don't know if I would give out my information or not. But it worked out. Just gotta brag on him a little bit.
Well, sure.
So the elementary athletic director, it does all three schools? That's one person, or is that three different positions?
That is one person,
Each one district.
And it does all three schools, right?
that's correct. And
And their job duties
as I
are?
understand, the job duty is primarily for the basketball season. But they can, and we can look at those job duties, but as I understand, it's coordinating the youth basketball.
So no, at elementary, which you have basketball, I guess that's girls and boys, and also now we
Yeah, someone's
have,
on it.
And that's other than a coach.
now we also have
And
volleyball.
so, okay, you have volleyball and what, youth football, you're gonna have that, how you gonna have that?
Youth
So,
football is different.
yeah, I'm not gonna kick on paying somebody $600 to oversee that stuff.
No, me either. They are on that, I'm sure.
$600 is not bad deal.
And all these coaching jobs, they have to be an employee of the school, right? Unless otherwise, unless an employee doesn't want the job, right?
If you do not have a qualified individual for that, then you can go to a level 2, but the preference, and that's the word that's used, the preference is for a current level 1, it's what's called an employee of the district.
Okay.
Does the board have a policy that prohibits somebody, who's not a teacher or a school employee from, a person who isn't, say, a school district employee, either as a teacher or a teacher, yeah. I think that has to be, I mean, do we have a policy that prohibits that person from coaching unless they are either a teacher, retired teacher, or on the substitute list for teaching?
No, there's no prohibition against, sponsoring activities. We're talking about level 1 and level 2 that we just described, unless there's, background checks and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I mean, there's prohibitions, but other than that, if we can't, and it's usually, it can be a challenge in some of these activities, whether it's athletics or academics, or anything else, really, to help our kids. It sometimes can be a challenge to find sponsors.
Mhm.
And so, that's usually why there's no prohibitions against going outside the school district out to employees. Maybe someone in the community or a parent. And that happens a lot, Some of these programs just can't get a coach, and a parent usually just steps up and goes, look, I'll do it. My kid's playing, they need a coach. They need a sponsor.
I was told that, actually I was told at the time that's the reason Ronnie Smith could not coach anymore. Because he was not a teacher.
That was
And the school district
3
has
years
a
ago.
policy, if you were not a teacher, that you could not coach. Ronnie was basketball coach over for years.
Why is there an asterisk beside
He's a
a
good man.
basketball
Very good.
assistant coach?
Very good man. 20
That's
years.
why I
You got done wrong.
What does that mean?
Don't know, like, yeah.
See, it says $300 and there's a little asterisk.
Got a little
What's
asterisk
that mean?
beside that, I saw that, what's
No
that
idea. I just
asterisk
I
mean?
don't know.
never saw it. It's
I'll-
probably just a
I'll-
typo.
Yeah, probably just a typo.
Because
Okay.
there's no legend for it.
How do we determine how much these different coaches are paid at the high school level?
previous years.
previous years.
Previous years, but you also kind of look at surrounding districts. I mean, not that it's a supply and demand thing, but you do want to be competitive in your compensation for coaches. And we are competitive, very, in some of our positions.
Yeah, one of the questions I had was, which, you talk major, minor sports, or soul sport, or whatever. It's wrestling, nothing, just wrestling. It's making 3,000, but in baseball over 2,500, which to me, baseball's,
I think it has more days to it. I had it figured out here.
I don't know, it's, I just wish that was previously, put in place, so.
I saw that a while ago, but I don't know where it's at now. I saw the wrestling.
Wrestling doesn't just wrestling, baseball side.
I think-
Wrestling don't have a lot of home events or
No,
leagues or matches.
I'm not for the wrestling either, but I think that the baseball and softball should be brought up to where the basketball and football is. And given the same amount of days. And maybe take away the pre and post-season conditioning for both. And just give extended days across the board.
And most of your major sports are gonna get more.
Well, that's your major ones right there.
Football and basketball.
Okay, but there's two positions for basketball pre and postseason. The little two there means that there's two
That's
positions.
girls and boys.
Okay, girls and boys.
Yeah. See,
Which one's getting?
I say take the pre and post conditioning out
Well, what I like
of
to
basketball and football.
What I would like to see, we might as well just throw it all out there on the table. Pre-season pub, I'm saying here you, like basketball, of course you have your pre-season or conditioning and then you practice for 6 weeks and then you play 30 games and I'm wondering why you need the postseason conditioning.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Let's
So
just
what
take
I'd
all
like
the
to
pre.
do is, I would like to see, take that, some of the extended days are at $2,600 on that pre and post, and, which I've seen it done in other places, and institute a youth league. I've seen a lot, matter of fact, I was one of them, I got a stipend, and then I got another one for doing the youth league, and that was collaborating in with the girls' coach also, so, which worked out pretty good. And again, we had a youth league at Shelby Clark before, which was a very good youth league, but I don't think we've had it in the past couple of years, have we?
What do you mean when you say youth league? Because I see freshmen.
I'm talking about like, looking at grades K through, or, I don't know if you go down to K, but I think, when I was at Priest, we had grades 3 through 6 or 7 or something like that, so, in summer we institute 8, it's just like a thing on Saturday or Sunday afternoon.
Like hoops?
I think it's good for your program, I think it gets people involved, and the more time you play,
The better you get.
the better you get, the more you love it.
Are you talking about like hoops? I don't understand what you mean by youth league.
Ronnie knows, he called it hoops, and what else did he call it before, I don't know.
Well, basically, me and Robin started the hoops league and went K through 5th grade. We ran it for about 8 years, and then when certain people got involved, we stepped out of it.
I just think.
Well, the reason they didn't have hoops this past year, I was told, was because the high school gym is no longer. So they had to do it all three, and that's why each school had their own hoops league, or
Yeah.
youth league, or little, players league, or whatever they call it.
I think it's, what they do is intramural.
Yeah.
I
But
think,
they each play at their own
I
school.
think we need to get
I
back
like
to
hoops
the,
better, but
hoops league, and plus it's a good money, as far as if you have Boosters Club, which in Lawrence County, the Boosters Club kind of coaches, which myself and the boys coach down there, Josh Cook, we were kind of like coordinators and this and that. And then we split the money, it was taken in, which you charged admission or sell concessions, and it was a good, good fundraiser too. And of course, it went to the Boosters Club, so I think that's something we're lacking. I think that's something that's gonna hurt your program down the road if you don't have those youth leagues. That's just my opinion.
So this is under the item basketball pre and postseason conditioning.
Yeah, that's $5,200.
You'd like to, what, cut that in half?
No, take it
No.
off.
No,
I
we're
say
just
take
talking
off
about
the pre-
taking it and putting it in a different direction.
Okay.
Something that will build the program.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I can't see, like I said, basketball to me, if you do preseason, which we all will do preseason conditioning, and you play, like you say, you practice 6 weeks from October the 15th to the 1st of December, and then you play 30 games, and then I don't see any point in doing postseason conditioning. Of course,
Well, if we do that, if we do,
but I'd like to see the $2,600 moved. And I want to see-
5,200 if you times it times two.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting let's take the pre and post-season conditioning off, give them all extended days across the board, give football, basketball, baseball, and softball $4,000. 2 of them get 4,000. The baseball and softball, you can't give it to baseball without giving it to softball.
yeah,
Give them all the same amount of extended days across the board.
extended days across the
And
board.
that's what they'll use for their preseason or their postseason, whatever they want to do. And they would have to bring us papers and say, this is what we've done.
Okay.
That's what I'm suggesting. As far as the hoops league, did Robin get paid for that?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
We got here you got high school pre and postseason conditioning down here, and it's $1,500, and only got one. So what you're suggesting is making it more fair, right? All across the board?
Yes, all across the board. Where do you
Just-
see only one for that? I
Huh?
see, and we have a high school basketball freshman coach, and there is not a freshman team. Am I wrong? Is there a high school freshman team?
In what?
Not in years, in high school,
In high school
basketball.
basketball?
Does anyone know?
We've not had the kid the last 3 years.
No, we
to have
haven't.
one.
So,
Usually you have 2 assistant coaches, and one takes care of JV and one takes care of freshman. Involved.
but we've not had that in years, right?
All right, granting extended days, is it going to cost more than the stipends? Would you know, Mr. McCoy or Robin or anyone?
Well, they
Extended
already
day-
get extended days.
Okay, they already get extended days,
Yes, all 4 coaches already get extended days.
the maximum.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Each one gets,
So you're saying take those away and give everybody,
20, 25 extended days. I don't know how much they get already. What is the, do you know?
For which one?
If you look
For
at the bottom,
basketball.
basketball coach is 25 days, football coach is 25 days.
Okay, give that to the baseball and softball. And you would have to know who the coach was before you could figure out how much their extended days would be worth. And they're,
it's whatever you get paid per day teaching,
Right.
it depends on what you're,
right,
what you got.
Salary is definitely
It could be
good days.
$200 and some dollars.
or lessen the amount of days, but give them all the same pay.
I would just say that there's a difference in those sports. And if the board wants to make them all the same, that's certainly your decision to go forward. There's a difference in those, in football, basketball, and baseball, softball.
It's like football, you got spring practice, and you do have weights, and you got passing leagues, you got, there's
Okay, baseball lasts longer, there's more days. I used to have a piece of paper here with all the days on it, and of course, I think it was 90-some, according to KHSAA.
it starts February the 15th, and it depends on how long you play.
But when you're talking about days, that means work days. So what do you do after baseball season's over? Where's the 25
You know, I can
days?
see getting some extended days for
I mean, sure.
baseball, to hold like a baseball camp, you know, bring in your elementary kids and middle school kids and get to know them, and I can see.
Well, you said we
I
could
just
go
think
over
there's
this
some-
again Monday,
I think so,
right?
when you-
Or do we have to, will the deadline be passed?
Not until
No.
15.
I'd
Not
like
till
to
June
see-
15th.
June 15.
See it be evenly distributed.
It- What he's saying,
What-
it can't hardly be even, right, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. It's just real hard to make those even on those days. I mean,
How many days of football?
right now,
No, how many days is the football season?
it
We start
goes,
practice July 15th,
Let's
you get
start
to the
today.
No, I
playoffs,
think
you jump to
football,
December.
I would think.
Well, with the new rules, you can go all year
Yeah, you
round.
practice all year round.
Yeah.
The only time you
Official
can't do
practice.
anything is last part of June, early July, that's a dead period. But other than that, football, basketball, baseball can go all year round.
And softball?
And softball, if the coach wants to do it.
Any sport. You know, just official practice, which you gotta look at, I guess you're not covered for, is, some of those insurance, catastrophic insurance doesn't cover you if you're practicing.
let me go back to the question that Lois asked because it's important. I've advised the principals not to put anybody in these positions because right now, the people who may or may not fill these, may fill these positions, you know, there's a general expectation of, well, what's the stipend? Not all of them, because people will do these things regardless of what it is, but if we're talking significant reductions, then until the board determines what these are gonna be, we'll determine if these coaches are gonna continue to coach, or whether it's academics or athletics. So I've advised the principals to hold until this board determines. Now, you can, the board can push it down the road, but I would say the sooner the better. I mean, Monday, I would recommend that the board make some kind of approval of these schedules, no later than Monday.
Okay, that way they can be told?
Yes, so our principals can start, considering filling these positions. And people can consider whether they want to do it or not.
Okay, so do y'all want to wait until Monday and make our decision just on this part?
Might be better to wait till Monday.
Just on that part,
Just on
right?
I'd like to go on record as agreeing with Mr. Harless about the Hoops League, something like that. I was around on those Saturdays and I'd go up there and that gym would be filled. And
don't have
people
that
would be tired of refereeing or whatever. And the sweat would be running off of those coordinators, Miss Newsom and Mr. Hickman helped quite a bit himself. And it was a good time. And for that Saturday, instead of being in front of a Xbox or a television set, these kids were out experiencing physical exertion, and it was great to see so many kids were involved. I don't know how y'all did it, but it was.
I think the last year that me and Robin was over, we had over 200 kids.
Yeah, it was tremendous.
And you got grandparents, you got aunts and all, everybody
Right.
can come and watch.
Yeah.
Plus it's a good fundraiser.
It's a
for
good
your-
fundraiser, yeah.
It's a good
Right.
fundraiser.
But it's still going on, it's just not going on at the high school anymore because we don't have a gym anymore.
Well, can't
Now
we
they're
just-
doing it at each individual school, Mickey, they're still doing it. They're just doing it at each individual school.
Well, can't we do
And
it
no
at
one's
the
getting
middle
paid
school?
for that.
Huh?
Can we do it at the middle school gym?
Oh, we can do it actually, we can do it,
You can do it.
yeah, we can do it
High
at,
school or-
at
Mine is
current
on
Sheldon,
Warfield.
at current Sheldon Clark High School. Actually, I think, I don't know, Ronnie, if this would work, but if you wanted to do it, if you wanted to rotate between Sheldon Clark High School and Warfield, or now Mark County Middle School, if you rotated between those two gyms, give kids on each side of the hill, a little bit of, does that sound good?
But
Do it on,
why didn't they do that this year? Does that interfere with basketball schedules? With the girls and boys?
not on,
Well,
What was
see,
the
what you would
reason?
have to do if you played the league like on Saturday, what you would have to do is look at both the boys and girls schedules to see,
Who needed the gym?
right, if a girls has a game on a Saturday or a boys had games on
You
Saturday,
usually
you
finish.
could still play, but you would have to probably start earlier in the morning.
Yeah,
I wonder why they didn't do that this year, why they did
No.
it each individual elementary school.
Way we did it, or I did it, and of course, I don't think you guys did it basically the same way, we copy off each other or steal something that's good. Which, you know, Lawrence County, we started in October, ran 3 Saturdays in October, 3 in November, and 3 in December, that included the tournament, or, you know, if it starts getting, you know, with football, if it starts hurting there, then you go November, December, and January. I don't know what days you use, but, and again, like I said,
We always started in January, didn't we?
We always started in January,
yeah.
we went January and February. And we usually finished up right before the boys' state tournament.
Right.
So you just pick out the days, what you think's best, or coaches pick out, which I kinda like to, you know, October, November, 1st of December, and you're finished, basketball season, and you concentrate on your high school season, so. Again, that way interfere with, you know, with, youth football, and that kind of thing.
There was a reason they did it. I mean, I liked it better hoops because everyone from all the different schools were put on different teams. But this year, what they did was Inez Elementary had their own teams. They played at Inez Elementary. You understand how it went. I mean, I liked it better when everybody was mixed up, because you get to know each other better.
And again, if you're looking at extended, you could either use your extended days for something like that, or like I say, if you got that $2,600, you wanna, you know, use that for, coordinate that, and do it either way, I think. But I like them. This is something we.
I have no problem with it either way. I do like the hoops. Do like the
Well, they're
hoops.
still doing it. They're just not doing all the hoops anymore. And they're doing it at each individual school.
Yeah, yeah, well, I knew they were doing it at each individual school, it just,
I don't know why.
Like you said, Gary, you know, we'll rotate.
Well, for one reason,
Have it on is-
I don't guess nobody stepped up and wanted to do it.
yeah,
That's the big thing.
that's a big thing, yeah.
If you're getting paid, then you gotta do it. And like you said, Gary, you have it, Inez.
Well, I'd like to see it at Inez and Warfield, but, too, you know, that way there, it makes it fair. You know, if you live up on 292 and you're playing all your games in Inez, it makes it a little bit tough. But if you're playing them at Inez and Warfield, a little bit, same thing if you were living over here. and
Down
you live-
Buffalo Horn.
Yeah, you could drive to Inez or you drive to Warfield, you know, kinda, and you may get more people, more kids involved in
So
it.
you had about, what, 200 kids you say involved?
I think the last year that me and Robin had, we had well over 200 kids.
I think it's about what we had in Lawrence County.
And that was good, they were good fundraisers, wasn't they? They had, I would say they were very, very good fundraisers.
I have an idea. Maybe you could, from last year or from this year only, let us know how much was paid out in extended days. And then we can sit and, before we come back Monday, and look at that, and just individually,
What do you want to know from us?
how much we paid out in extended days.
In
On this
just
salary.
athletics?
In this part, in this little
Just
block
athletics?
here.
Yeah, the little blocks here,
Yes.
And that'll change, and you know, based on the person who's in it.
They'll change what, sir?
Salaries.
That'll change based on the person that's in it, because
Yes.
it's based on
Yeah.
days, daily rate.
Experience and-
Okay.
Did you see?
It could
Yes.
be considerable.
Yes, but I'm asking for this year, and that will give us a little bit of an idea. Do you understand?
Yeah.
I mean, I know one of them will change drastically, but, and that way we can weigh if it's better to give them extended days or just a stipend across the board. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But remember, the board doesn't get to put the person in the
Right,
position.
well, I'm not asking for that. I'm just trying to see if it's more feasible to do straight across the board or the extended days, different extended days for each.
like coffee pit, cold,
Or can we do that?
You can put extended days on your position.
yeah.
But isn't something our athletic coordinators, we should have them in on it. They're the ones that schedules everything.
Which one? We have three. Which one are you talking about? We're talking, we have a high school athletic director, a district athletic director, and a county athletic director. Which
Yeah.
one would you suggest?
I can't understand that.
I don't
Yeah,
understand it
that's
either.
why I don't know why we have them.
Well, here's, let me, I don't wanna do all, I don't wanna do all the talk, let me throw this out here. And of course, which, we talked about Rena doing that last year, which I think we need to combine, and I've looked at it, and of course, I don't like to say boys athletic director, girls athletic director, stay away from that sexist or whatever you wanna call it, but
Yeah.
I was kinda looking at, and I don't know what you guys, you got your own ideas, but, if you have like a head athletic director, associate athletic director, or if you wanna use, head athletic administrator, high school, associate athletic administrator, middle school, or if you wanna call it assistant, whatever term you wanna use or you think's best. But as far as taking, both receive the same stipend, I think it says $3,000, both receive the same amount of extended days. Some of the duties, and of course, that's not my right job description, but I just like to throw out some things out there.
No, actually, it is our job, our job description.
Which, you know, and this is just, as far as what we do or can do, this is just off the top, or just a small, it's gonna take me a little while to read it, but I'm sure we can come up with a lot more. But things such as, like say, duties, and they will collaborate with coaches of all high school sports. This is your head athletic administrator, or if you want to call it athletic director, or whatever, county. So high school though. Let's just call it head athletic administrator. So we'll collaborate with coaches of all high school sports in scheduling, obtaining physicals, compiling participation lists, checking eligibility status, age, grades, residence, such as that, insurance, make sure all coaches meet KHSAA certification, medical, safety, such as example, CPR training, rules, clinics, dues, coaching cards, and etc. Establishing and enforcing rules of conduct for all coaches, with dress, language, proper coach-athlete relations. Make sure Title IX compliances are met in all areas. Ensuring proper equipment available for each sport, inventory before and after each sports season. Oversee rotation of buying uniforms, distributing or getting approval and collecting purchase orders for each sport. Overseeing the prepping of sports facilities, ensuring they are safe and playable. Submitting schedules to proper sources for officiating home games and transportation for away games. Scheduling for practices, making sure there are no conflicts. NCAA clearinghouse forms. Scheduling college visits for junior and senior athletes hoping to play at next level. Ensuring security is in place for each sporting event. Recruitment of gate and concession workers for home sporting events. Help coaches of each respective sport that wants to establish a boosters club. Supplying guidelines and regulations. Make sure athletes have access to tutoring if needed. And here, we're talking about extended days. Provide all coaches, sit down, all coaches with job description and job duties. Make sure each coach fulfills allotted extended days. At the end of the year, evaluate each coach, go over evaluation with each coach, informing them of the areas where they excel and where they need improvement. Provide documentations for that. Scheduling team media and picture days. Now that's just a few. Now what your associate or your assistant athletic administrator would do is, and compensated, performs the same duties as the head athletic administrator, but at the middle school level. That's just an idea I threw out there, so, you know.
Well, right now, what are the job duties for a district athletic coordinator?
We were supposed to get a list of those job duties for each.
Yeah.
Do we have
That's
those?
what I mean, that's what I shared a moment ago. They don't exist. That's what we're working
That's
on.
what I'm saying.
Oh, we don't have.
That's just a
These things don't
few.
exist.
Well,
County
there's
and
no
district
job
does
duties
not?
that,
These don't exist. I mean, we only go by district athletic director about what is commonly known, what they do. that's scheduling, all scheduling
So what do you
competitions
think?
at the high school,
I think
and
it-
middle school, making sure that the gymnasiums are, you know,
I
the
think it's
facilities
good what you
use
suggested.
is
They send it to them like
available,
this.
whether it's between wrestling and
Okay,
basketball.
one more thing on the days, and I hate to interrupt, but we're throwing out there 30 extended days for each one. I'm saying, of course, you can look at, you can set your own days, like I just wrote down here, you can limit it to 5 days, but say 10 days. 2 during Thanksgiving with, and, you know, both work together, because, middle school included in that zippy zone, or whatever it used to be, the basketball, what do we call it, the zippy
Zip
zone?
zone class.
Zip zone.
Classic, zip zone, okay. I can see doing 2 during fall break, 4 during Christmas break, or 2 during spring break, or if you wanna limit that to 5. I like 20 days prior to school start date, as far as their duties start, because you got football, it starts what, July the 15th. Which is approximately 20 days before the start of school, so I think you need somebody there then. I think you, 5 days post closing of school, because again, with all the duties you have to do as far as, equipment and what you have and what you need, and for next year, that's, if you wanna go 15 and 5, or you wanna go 20 and 5 and 5. But there's a lot of things to be done if you do it, and like, you know, be accountable, be held accountable, and, provide documentation, as we've said, and,
Okay, so do we set the job descriptions, Roger? I'm confused.
No,
Do
we
we or
did.
not?
You approve job descriptions.
We approve.
Approve them, we don't set them.
Right. Yes, I mean, you approve.
Well, if you approve them, you set them.
My question, Mr. Harless, I had down here a note that you'd agree, a county academic coordinator does, you don't want it to be a coach. Now, how about you agree that the district and county coordinator for sports don't need to be coaches?
well, this is what, which I see what, I knew you were gonna bring it up, so this is where we're coming from,
I
yeah.
didn't know.
But I'm talking like your head
Preskin.
athletic, yeah, which she's not a coach.
See, I don't think you should have two, because one of them's gonna end up doing the job. So we have 3 positions,
Well,
and
if you
you're
got
saying
one
2 of them, no
for-
one's in, right?
One's for,
No, they're.
one's for high school
there's
and one's for
somebody
middle school.
In both positions,
in
or one position?
both of those.
I'm just trying to
Okay,
solve
but
the
there's a high
problem.
school athletic director
We
too.
got a
Is there
problem.
someone in that?
Yes.
There's someone in the high school, in the county, and the district.
What I don't want to do is one person doing the job,
And,
for both of them.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, week 1 is for, you do the same, but one is for high school, and the other, which I wrote down here, associate or assistant athletic administrator, and compensated the same and performs all the same duties, which I know there's some that you won't have at the middle school that you have at the high school, but you'd have to look at those.
but you've
And
already,
performs all the same duties as a head athletic administrator, but at the middle school level.
but you've already got a high school athletic director up here.
Okay,
Well,
I'm
we're
trying,
gonna-
I'm trying to ask a question.
Okay, go
That's
ahead.
done away with.
So we have someone in each position,
Add that
Mr.
on.
Meadows?
There is someone in the athletic county,
Uh-huh.
coordinator for the county.
Uh-huh.
There is someone in the athletic coordinator for the district,
Okay,
and there is someone in the athletic director at the high school.
okay.
I think we need to cut down on some of these positions, which we talked about one
Exactly.
time, but, of course, these people will be making, it's just like, and I don't know how this, which we talked about, what a coach prefers. It's like with baseball has 2 assistants and softball has 1, which we're gonna have to remedy that, either go with 1 or go with 2 in softball.
Make it fair.
Make it fair.
Well, with
Go
baseball,
with 1.
I agree.
with baseball, it's all the same pay. They just gave them the privilege of cutting that pay in half
Yeah,
to split it between 2 other coaches.
so,
But the payments is no
The
different.
pay is the same.
yeah, the pay is like,
It's 1,500 but then
$750, but,
$750 for 2 coaches if you wanted.
so with softball,
They could do that if they wanted to.
according to this, they only got $752.
But I
What is what it says here is softball, $750, so Title IX, you're either gonna have to,
Title IX.
You're
Do we
gonna-
have, do we have the Title
you're gonna have to
IX
get
page?
two, you're gonna have to have two
Can we see
softball,
that?
right?
Can we see the Title IX?
Title
I don't know
IX,
which coach you
sure can.
prefer,
You
two,
want a
probably
copy?
2 assistants at $750 or one at $1,500, I don't know.
Can you see that?
What's that?
This is a mess.
No,
Yeah,
Title,
it's, yeah,
It is.
Title IX
It's
is
been around.
incredibly complex. And also these salary schedules are, I mean, don't feel,
I'll ask.
you know, that we're missing something here, because it is. It's.
I guess the thing that's hard for me to
But
understand
Title
is,
IX is a compliance.
you know, it's,
I mean,
Ensuring everything
it's online.
girls and boys are treated. I can't understand why you have a district athletic coordinator and a high school athletic.
Or county, no.
And a county, okay, I could understand if you say, okay, the district is the high school and the county is the middle school and grade schools. But then if the district athletic coordinator is the high school, then why are you having a district athletic coordinator along with a high
County
school
and district
athletic?
is the same thing.
That's what I'm saying, you have, for your county, which is your elementary school, then have one for the high school, which I just went over, your
Yeah.
head athletic director, and then middle school, which is associate
If
or
I could
assistant,
recommend to the
assistant.
board, typically for districts, you have a district athletic coordinator and an assistant. And typically, those duties, primary duties, are one will look at the high school and make sure all those in compliance, and the other one will do your middle school. But as Roger mentioned a moment ago, the assistant does all duties assigned the same as the head, but the head district athletic director is the one who's going to be submitting schedules, making sure they're submitted, making sure they're publicized, making sure transportation, making sure facilities are available, primarily because the high school has much more of that activity than your middle school. But that person can do those duties as well. Also, they frequently, in this district as well, as I've seen, the athletic director is also present at many of the athletic events,
Many or all?
many.
Okay. At
But
many.
the requirement is that at least the administrator is somewhere. And, you know, when you're talking about major and minor sports, let's say if the golf team goes somewhere, then you're not gonna have an administrator out there. The sponsor is gonna be the point of contact for that. But typically, if you have a varsity basketball game, football game, baseball game, there's gonna be an administrator or certified individual out there who's responsible for a go-to person. And something. Principals,
Yeah, is
District
it
athletic
usually the
director.
principal?
it usually is a principal or another administrator.
So you
a
were talking,
designee.
you were talking about typically, you have this and then an assistant. How long has this county had a district athletic coordinator and a county athletic coordinator?
And a high school athletic.
No.
It's been,
Hell,
it's
Something
been
we
many
can go
years
back and
ago,
look.
many years ago.
So when were these positions created? Which
We can go back and look at that, but I think the agreement is we got one too many.
We do.
Yeah, it's redundant.
I think, actually, guys, I think we
It's
have
redundant.
too many. I think we have too many. I mean, like I've said, I'd like to lower taxes. I don't know why we would have two in the same position and call one an assistant, because you know one's gonna be doing all the work.
Well,
That's what I'm saying, let's say two,
No?
one high school, one takes your
I
middle
don't feel like
school,
we do this
then you got your elementary.
like I want to do it. And that needs to be done.
I agree.
how many
So
people?
we don't have a list of duties?
As I've
Do we
shared,
have a list of
For the
duties for
district?
the athletic director and things like that?
I've asked for those, and we don't have, this district doesn't
Which I
have
said,
it.
that's what we need to,
They
we need
just
to come
don't
up.
exist, so
Which I could've come
they
up
do,
with.
it hasn't been brought to me.
It's a big job.
But we
He's
don't
talking
have,
about on KDE, Mr. Meadows, we don't have those.
It is a
Sure,
big
we
job.
can, yeah, we can.
Who
You
is
talking
doing,
about
who is
coaches?
doing the work now?
okay.
Is there one or two?
You have,
There are two bodies in these positions.
Okay, who is doing the actual work? Are there two bodies actually doing the work? And let me ask,
I
let
would
me
think
say
that
this
people-
before you say that.
So we have two bodies
If
in
we
three
have two
positions.
bodies in these
Pass
actual
down.
positions, these two bodies can produce paperwork showing that they've been doing the work, right?
Which we call that,
There are,
which you get a pretty good deal on there, so it's
these positions have multiple people on it. And-
volleyball.
I will say that the duties are not aligned. They need to be realigned.
this is from,
They need to be spelled out clearly
That's
because they are not at this
essentially
point.
Same.
So we have it.
So,
he's been reading from?
you know, there's,
No, I think
People
I
doing
think
things
I
that-
don't, I'm better
Well,
than
send me
that.
through 40.
Well, I know, but I just think we ought to have one of these.
Yeah,
this position.
We need to add some
Boys,
to it.
boys,
well, here,
Here, here, pass this.
They're not even paying attention.
Yeah, we are paying attention, we're
No,
trying to
you're
get
not.
something
No, you're
straight.
not.
Go
No,
ahead.
you're
Right here.
I'm sorry, we're just,
Here.
just passing this down.
Oh, where'd you find this at? Sean?
Yes, ma'am, if I could address the
There's
board, I've been,
IDE.
about those three positions, I've been here for almost 20 years, and to my knowledge, all three of those positions, the work is done by one person.
All of the work?
Every responsibility that Mr. Harless read, there's only one person that I would go to that I know that does every bit of that.
Would anyone else know that? I mean, is that common knowledge, there's
Yeah.
one person?
and that would be the high, and that would be the high.
Oh, I don't know what they are, but everything that he read with three positions, I know that there's one person that does
And
all those
But there's
responsibilities.
proof of that, right?
If there's one person doing it, then we just need that one
We
person.
Well,
just need that
that's
one
what-
person.
That's exactly
We
right.
don't need
That's
two
all
or
we need.
three.
High school,
No.
And
Are they doing it for
middle
middle
school.
school too?
Oh, I know that they, exactly what he read. I've been around and I know the responsibilities.
And everyone
And
else
they
knows that
do
too, right?
that. They
That's-
schedule the gyms for everybody.
Okay, since you've had, since you were a football coach and you knew that, football coach soccer and things like that, practices and
I
things like
only went to one person.
everything went to one person to make sure that all that was,
Yes,
that there wasn't any type of interference with scheduling and things like that.
correct.
Okay, what about when
Exactly.
you had, football games and middle school football games? Would that person also ensure that there wasn't any kind of conflict? Which I knew that
With
y'all,
scheduling, yes.
typically played on Friday night, but there might be a time when you might, for, whatever reason, it'd be moved to a Saturday, or, that has happened.
Right.
So did it always have to go through one person to make sure that that was,
Yes.
okay?
Thank you.
And where did we get this at? Was this from the state?
Yes.
Well, that's good.
it's,
Good to have a sports guy here to let us know that. So I'm not
Do you happen to
canceling,
know what their official title is?
The high school athletic director.
that's what I was gonna say. Cause I know this one person every year with the Zip Zone Classic, Fastlane Classic, always handled all the scheduling of those, lining up the teams and everything like, for that.
How many extended days is with the high school athletic director?
Huh?
At the time, how many extended days are with the high school athletic director?
Well, you see where it's coded at on here, well, you can see it only, it's $1,800 a year.
well, that's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. It's like, you give them okay, so you got athletic, whatever you wanna call it, head athletic administrator, which deals, like, with high school. Like you said, I don't know what the stipend is for that, but 30 extended days. Then with the other, which handles middle school, associate or assistant, whatever you wanna call that person, does middle school. And I know this is a mess. I mean,
Yeah, it's a mess. Well, here's the thing about it.
It
We
was
have,
created before, well,
But we're still, if we allow this to go on, then it's our fault.
yeah, it's our fault.
that's what we're trying to do is remedy.
We have,
Right.
But you can't do it all at one time, I'm just saying, you just
Okay,
can't.
I'll tell you what, I have an idea. This is just an idea, and we can build off of this idea. We can take away the district and the county and give to the high school athletic director, since that's the person that's already doing it, but call them something else if you want to. But still have the elementary do their stuff, but it looks like we were giving out for $5,800 in athletic director in 40 days. That's just what I see on here. Let's give the high school athletic director, I don't know, $4,000, $4,500, or whatever, or give her all of it. And
But what I'm gonna say
and wait,
is,
wait, and give the days, and then let them, just like these high school coaches, pick an assistant. What is the difference?
Principals.
a lot of times, high
If
school
the,
coaches
if
don't
the
get
program
it.
belongs to the school, the principal determines who is in that position.
Well, there's already someone in the position.
This
Yes.
year there was. All these positions are open right now because the schedule is not done and no one.
Well, if someone's already in the position, unless there's some
No, these are
wrongdoing.
annual assignments. These are only annual assignments. They're not
Oh, they've only been doing it for a
positions.
year? They've
No.
only been doing it?
No, they're annual reassignments.
I think the biggest thing is to be fair, I don't care. you
Oh, I
know.
think so too.
If you got the
So
head
what do you
athletic
say?
director or head athletic administrator, then you got, that takes care of the high school, then you come in with the assistant athletic director or administrator to take care of all the middle school, which you have basically the same. So,
well,
and then you, like I say, you don't go with all this, you got two positions.
So the head does all the big work, and then the assistant
No.
does the middle school?
Yeah, which you're doing basically the same. There's a few exceptions, like on as far as NCAA clearinghouse and some other things, and it's basically, the same as far as sports. I mean, you got, middle school soccer now, and you got football, and basically the same.
okay, the thing is,
Okay, so the principal picks who this goes to, right?
If
No matter
it's a
who is in
school,
the
if
position
it's a
right now.
district, I do.
Okay, no matter who is in it right now.
That's correct. Because they are annual reassignments. They are not associated or related with the primary teaching duties. So it's not part of the tenure that you're guaranteed to have this every year. That's why people get a reduction letter every day in these positions.
Uh-huh.
Or every year, that's every day.
well, what,
So if someone's been doing all this all by themselves and.
for years, they can be
Yeah.
I don't know
reassigned.
if anybody's been doing all this. Plus, I have some more to add to it.
I can't hear from Mr. Boe.
Oh, I said, I don't know if anybody's been doing all this, but one
They have.
person, but they have been doing, basically, but I've added some things to it, and I'd like to add a few more things. and-
Well, apparently it's common knowledge that they've been.
Well, basically what Sean said is that one person has handled all this stuff that we talked about.
That's the reason
Done all the
that's the reason
scheduling.
I'm saying more extended days, rather
Yeah.
than 10,
But we have
30, and raise the pay.
But they haven't even got 10.
Yeah,
Where
they
do
haven't
you
got
see
any.
10? Where do you see
Well,
10
This is
extended
this
days?
is what I'm saying, 30, I'm saying 30 extended
Well,
days.
this person hasn't even got extended days. He
Yeah,
said it was the high school athletic director, and it's common
Well,
knowledge.
it's got 10.
No, that's county.
no,
No,
here's the thing I'm looking at, this one person is getting $1,800
Well, you got
period doing this stuff.
1,800 plus the county.
You know what I mean?
So you got
I'm
the
okay.
same
And then we've got,
job, it's listed
we've got one person that we know's in that position getting $1,800, and they're doing all the stuff according to, at least one coach that we have here. If there's any conflict with any scheduling or using the field and stuff
Well, I
like
wonder why
that,
they're not saying, why it doesn't say that there.
one person paid $1,800 to do that, and we have two other positions, one pays $3,000 in 30 days, then 1,000, and then 10 days, and all we wanna know is what these people do.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Now, y'all are not
Let's
paying
clean
attention to
this
Mr.
up.
Boe.
Excuse me?
You're not paying attention to Mr.
What'd you
Boe.
say, Mr. Ball?
See?
No, it's on, well, here's what I'm saying, I mean, we have
They'll have to watch the
So
video.
let me explain this to you here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so with football, which you just need to combine this, so we got the head football coach, makes 4,000. Then it comes down here and it says, high school football head coach stipend, 2 more thousand. So why do you need 4 to combine it? I mean, and then you come on down here, of course, the conditioning. So just combine all 3 and say, here's football coach, you got 7,500.
Yeah,
You don't need all that.
Okay, all I want to say on this matter
You don't
is
need
that,
You don't.
all I want to say on this matter, all I want to say on this matter is that you pay a person for what they do.
yeah,
And if there are people that we are paying with public money that are not doing their job, then it should cease
yeah.
immediately.
Could be liable for it.
Oh, I could be liable
No,
for,
No, they should be
they
liable.
could be liable for it.
sure, amen.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be hard, I mean, all you'd have to do is call around to some of these schools to find out who it is.
That's why,
Don't do that.
No, I wouldn't, I'm just saying, that's, anybody could do that
here's what I'm
and find
saying.
out who it was.
If you got a high school athletic administrator, then of course their job or their duties, which I just read some of them, and of course, you make sure, I mean, that they do their job. And of course, the same with the assistant or the one that takes care of the middle school. And it's like extended days. You
Well, I-
make sure they use those extended days. I mean, it's not a, like Mickey says, gravy train.
Right.
So how many
So you
days
go
does the high
6
school
hours a
athletic
day, right?
director, how many extended
6
days
hours
do
a
they get
day
paid
for
for?
the extended days, and you should be doing something for them 6 hours.
Athletic, let me just go down the list.
And you get
There's
some,
no 60 days, there's just $1,800.
Well, I think it's pretty clear that, you know, according to Coach Hager at least, that there has been somebody that has been doing their job in that position. And it is the high school athletic director. who's
With
done
no
it.
extended days, and I think they should be paid
With no
for
extended days. And the whole thing about it is, on these other
that's
things,
what I just said.
our district
Including
athletic
this year.
coordinator,
I'm not talking about just starting 2015, 2016. I think they should be paid for their extended days this year.
oh, I agree with you.
Because there's no extended days here, and you know there has to be extended days doing all that.
I mean, here's the thing about it, actually, if we abolish these 2 positions, it's $3,000, this $3,000 plus 30 days, and this $1,000 plus 10 days, if you abolish those positions, if you just abolish,
That's what I'm
the
saying.
thing, abolish them,
You combine it, Gary, you combine it, it's just like football coach.
Why would
Rather
you-
than say, head football coach, 4,000, head football coach stipend, 2,000,
yeah.
conditioning lift, just combine it all together and say, you're head football coach, what you get. you
Yeah,
know?
well,
And
if
here's
you-
your job description.
Yeah,
You do-
but, well, the first thing you'd have to do, you'd have to abolish those positions, you'd have to abolish those stipends,
You know, can I show you something? I don't wanna make it any more muddier.
okay?
Pass one of these down. And this is what we used last year. It's just a
I'm
draft.
trying to
mind
make
you.
this athletic,
I know.
rather than 10, but for 30 days.
Please remember, board, that it's very helpful if you would just look at the positions. If you don't think we need the position of responsibility, then by all means, get rid of it. But don't think about the people that are in it. That'd be don't-
No, no.
I have
That's
no
why I'm just trying to help you out here. The whole community may know who's doing these things, but when it comes to the board making decisions whether these positions or extended days or stipends exist, you gotta do that without seeing a face in space.
Yeah,
No.
Because it's not up, I mean, you know, the principal, if it's a school program, the principal makes a determination in consultation with their site base on who goes in these places. If it's a district position, then it's the superintendent.
yeah,
So, and not that, I'm not throwing that out there saying, well, you know, we're gonna do a shell game here. But just look at the responsibilities and the stipends and those extra service positions, whether we need them or not, or whether you think that's too much for a stipend or too many days. Don't think about the person that's in them.
Okay.
Now, the example that I use here, the first, and this is a draft only, please write on it right now. That's something I used last year and sent to the board to consider. But you'll see the athletic director assistant is at the top, and what I did was combine the 2 county and high school, there was a 10-day and $2,800. That would be your assistant. And then if you have a district, both of those are district. If you have a district assistant, then you have a district head, would have the 30-day and 3,000. So, I mean, for example, on that particular position, responsibilities, taking those three, combining them, you're not adding money, you're not taking any away, you're just realigning those duties into two positions.
Okay, if it's the principal, if the principal knows who, and I'm not even putting a face, I'm saying the people that actually do the work, I don't care who the face is behind it, the people doing the work, should be the one getting paid.
That's right.
And why would a principal get rid of someone if this is the person that's been doing the work? Why would he
If they're doing the
not
work,
want the
why
same
would,
Or
person?
she.
why would he or she do that? I don't know why they would. Why would they?
Right,
Because they
So-
can?
the principal?
Because they can?
He's a good
Happens every day
person.
across the world.
I want
I don't
to,
see him doing that.
I want to speak up about, I've not been putting faces with
I haven't either.
positions either.
I thought I knew it was, but I don't.
I don't even know who a lot of these people are. But, you know, that's of no concern to me. It's just the concern that if you're not doing your job and you're getting paid for it, then that's wrong. And I can't waste the public's money.
So the two questions that you have is the position necessary? And then secondly, the person that's occupying position, are they actually doing the work?
Yes, so how would we?
No, I would only say the first one.
Mr. Meadows,
Are they
if you're
necessary?
here for me saying this, every Sunday night, I'm talking about the high school athletic director, every Sunday night, I get an email from this person stating all the sports that's going on. I think Mr. Meadows might get CC'd in it, I'm not sure.
Okay, the emails, are you talking about like scheduling?
Schedules, if she,
Okay, scheduling
Please don't do that.
I'm sorry,
Okay,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no, actually, you don't have to do it. No, I'm
There is
not
a
asking.
person, the work
Okay.
is being done, there's no question about that.
Okay, but I'm asking, okay, here's the thing I'm asking for, I'm just not, okay, not asking who the person is, could care less. But are these emails that you get, okay, like scheduling, are they for only the high school, or are they for middle school, are they for elementary school, are they for soccer, and all the various teams?
Various.
All the various teams at all various levels, elementary, middle, and high school, correct?
Various.
All right, so at all levels, so why do we have?
Have these positions been paid for this past year?
Well, just throw something else out there. I think we need an athletic secretary.
So someone has been
Take care. I mean, you
receiving
wouldn't
paid for
believe.
work that they haven't
The
done.
paperwork for coaches.
only do
But not for,
Athletic.
but not for extended days, right? Because you have to show proof of extended days.
Three
If you haven't-
assistants also.
Guys, if you haven't done the work, then you can't turn in extended days. So therefore, they couldn't get paid for the extended
I get
days.
calendars on all extended days.
Of someone saying they've done all the work,
I get calendars on the extended days, for those extended days, yes.
can we see that?
So it
Sure.
matters. I would just caution the board about the personnel piece.
No, personnel don't matter to me, I just want to.
What personnel piece? That's got nothing to do with it. If someone has been getting paid for a job that they don't do and extended days for paper, and they've been turning in things they've been doing. I mean, can everyone do that?
No,
Exactly.
can we break for about 5 minutes? Or can we, I don't know what time is it? How long have we been at this?
20 after 7.
Do you think that you're going to arrive at a decision tonight, or do you think you have more discussion, you want to try?
Well,
to
I'd
do-
like to see,
I think everybody would like.
I don't
to
think we're
see
gonna
the
arrive at a
district
decision on this,
county
on
athletic
the
director.
thing
And the
with
extended days
the.
that have been turned in and have been paid for.
I tell you what I'd like to see at the next meeting, I would like to see some kind of supporting documentation on the district-wide coordinator and,
All of it.
The county,
yeah, and the
And the high school.
countywide coordinator to justify the salaries and the extended days
And the high school. All of it.
and the high school. I don't think we'll have any problem with the high school since we have a coach here that told us to.
Well, if there's no extended days, we have a problem.
Huh?
There's no extended days on the high school athletic director.
Well, that's true, okay, well, yeah. Yeah, just give, yeah, everybody
Keep in mind, the
give,
county could absorb some of the high school athletic directors too, so.
But there's only one person
So
doing the
this-
job.
But for both of those.
Right, right, like what she was saying, yes. But it's still just the same person and there are no extended days, right?
No, there are on the county. There are 10 days and $1,000.
Okay.
So
There's
a
30 days
person
on
can
the district.
feasibly occupy both of those positions.
Okay,
But
so,
they're coming up $2,000 and what, 20 days short?
and doing all the work.
That is-
sir, back to your original question you asked, the board members, I will say, I don't think there's going to be a decision,
No.
able to get a decision made. That's my personal, that's,
Not
Yes.
me.
So if the board wants to continue
this
on the
is
discussions or take a break and come back,
This is a proposal that we.
No, just go ahead.
I say
and go
let's
with
see the
it.
documentation for the extended days for the district, the county, and the
This
high school.
proposal.
And
At my next
then-
meeting.
And then we'll make our decision.
would you like to do that in a work session? Can we start about 4 on Monday?
Next month.
Can we do that? And what that will do, that will be a special at 4. The regular won't change, it won't be a special because the regular board meeting
Yeah.
is still at 6 o'clock. It's a
Okay.
regular session. But we can do a work session and provide notification of that to begin at 4 o'clock. And that'll give us a little bit more time because we got some other things on board to talk about recognizing folks and stuff. We'd like to get those.
knocks me out of going to Cincinnati with my son, doesn't it?
Well, that's just a suggestion.
No, no,
We get you back.
that's just disgusting.
Back to
So
Braden's term starts that day too.
this is a proposal that we
That's
looked
just a
at,
draft.
proposal
Yeah.
that we looked at
Yeah.
last year and we said leave as is last year.
That's what that is, Roger?
Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
yeah,
I remember.
which I'm looking at and discussing good things on.
The only thing different on was that athletic director. That's the only thing that's different from last year.
That sounds like a winner, to come in here
Yeah.
before and discuss it.
No.
I'd be happy, I mean, you need, just send me an email, come by the office, I'd be happy to sit down and look at these. I've got other information from other districts that KEDC provides us annually on average, stipends for these kinds of positions. Be happy to share that with you. Whatever you need to make your decision.
Thank you.
I mean, I think it'd be nice, when we have Coach Hager, it'd be nice to have other coaches here to just ask them, who do you check with to make sure this, that, and the other?
I'd like to know who monitors this,
The,
author,
the work,
all of it.
You,
We just-
opened up Pandora's
Principal?
Well, I think,
Possibly principals and principals should monitor.
their building, and then I am on the district,
I'm naive, Mickey, remember.
the principals in the buildings.
Okay, so this will be just our discussion, no action taken,
Yeah, we'll just take all the
Yeah.
action that day.
okay? Then we'll move on to our next item, which is discussion of possible action on Martin County swimming pool.
I think that was, no action, not table.
Okay, so no action on that then. Move on to a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye, opposed?
aye.
Never opposes.
You want to stay here?
No,